The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps. The cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
And good evening, travelers and those alike. Welcome to the show. I am Ed, the Hitman Odell.
I am Rhonda Harris.
And I'm Adrienne.
Thank you all for being here tonight. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. Of course, you are watching the Orion Effect right here on the RNN, the R.I.F.T Nation Network. It is January 18th, 2026, and man, have we already started out with a bang, with some shit going down. It's going to be a great night. Getting together with these two, working out something that I found very interesting that's going to lead into cryptic, to spiritual, to what scenes are behind that we don't know about, which Adrienne could definitely put her experience into. Look at that. I was good. And give you a real point. Miles, you guys, can put in there and chat, talk with us. As you can see to the right, you are there. And if we do not acknowledge you, we will definitely do the best we can. If you have a question, and if it's not a question, you will see your comment right here on the right. If it is a question, we will read it out because we're not only podcast live video, we are also audible, going live and uploaded, so you guys all can hear what's going on. All you travelers alike. Adrienne, welcome to the show. Welcome back to your show, girl.
Thank you.
Absolutely, it has been too long, in my opinion.
We always have fun.
Always. I like that. Yes. As those who do not know, Adrienne is from the Things Network. She does several things over there. And she came over here and I talked to her manager there, and he's like, look, let's do this. So you're going to be seeing a lot more intertwining with hosts between the networks. I think that is a beautiful thing we're going to see. Yeah. A lot of energy. I am going to step back for a second. I'm going to let Rhonda do her thing and welcome them to this home.
All right. Hello, Joanne Stewart, Renee Cody, Jan Lynn, Keith Ottersberg, Renee Cody, Kevin. Thank you all for joining in.
And for those others that are sitting there behind the scenes that don't want to say anything because you're too scared, come on, jump in. Just say hi. Or just say, I'm here and I'm out. That's fine. Acknowledge, because we see that you're there and we appreciate you. Even though you're not in chat, we appreciate you. A lot of energy and a lot of thank yous out to you guys. And Joanne, to see her again on the show, that's awesome. Good to see you back. I know it's been a long time. So, with that being said, tonight we're going to be talking about something that's pretty sensitive. It's pretty kept under the radar unless you keep up with this particular subject. And tonight we're going to be talking about Expedition X, Josh Gates' project, specifically season 7. And if you do not know what we are referring to, I will help you get there. We will plot it out, but you need to hear what its reasons are for the two shows that didn't hear. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So before we get into that, Rhonda, you got that look like you're tired. What have you been doing, girl?
I'm good. Nothing. Nothing all weekend.
Nothing? Not a thing?
Nope.
Oh my goodness. That's not, well, that is,
No, it is good because I'm taking full advantage of nothing to do on weekends till season starts back up.
Yes. As it is built to build for us as well. Adrienne, what about you? How are you? How was your weekend and how was your week?
Good. We actually got a pretty cool pagan group going here in what's the matter?
Oh, no, you're fine.
You were fine.
Oh, hear me? We got this pretty cool pagan witchy group going here in our town, and I met up with the leader yesterday, and we went to a couple of the little holistic stores and metaphysical stores. Pretty cool.
Nice. I will say that with this move that I made from Richmond to Roanoke, I found something that was interesting. There's a lot more shops here than I anticipated, which is really cool. I want to acknowledge Jeremy York, the founder and creator of Things Network, is in the house. Hello, brother York. When I moved here to Roanoke 3 months ago, and I started looking around, there's like 9 to different shops here.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
There's a really good one in Harrisonburg.
Oh, yeah.
Horizon.
Yes. And there's another one that's over there, too, and I can't remember. I think that was up near the university. So
I just love Horizons because it's so interesting to talk to the owners because one of them was a retired math college instructor and the other science. And now they run a metaphysical store. So I just love it.
Isn't that ironic, huh?
I love going to chat with them.
Adrienne, what about you? Why do you go into these shops? What do you find when you go into these shops?
it's really so cool because one of them is just owned by a little Hispanic family, and they are just so cute. She brings her 3 kids into work every day, and I'm talking babies. Like she had them back to back babies.
Yeah.
And they're in there just playing, having fun. It's a family store, and she has all kinds of crystals, and she'll tell you exactly where she got them. Everything. It's really cool. The other one is brand new. I had not been there, and they have a tarot reader there twice a week, and I want to say it's her dad, but I'm not 100% sure. He's a very elderly man.
Okay.
And he has no problem teaching and telling you, this is what I did. This is how I come to the conclusions I do. The little story he told me was so cute. And he wrote down names of books. He's like, here, read this. One of the books was $600. I'm like, you've lost your damn mind.
Well, I'll read it, but I ain't buying it.
Salesman too, huh?
You've lost your mind. This is not going to happen. But he told me this story. He said when he first started reading, he was doing it at work. And these girls would come in and want to talk about their love life and read for their love life. And he said he'd get feedback every week about what happened after his reading. And he learned to read the cards that way because he would know, what happened and what that card meant. And so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, we're all going to have an event there at least once every 2 weeks. And do things like, even making a little incense or, something cool every week. So yeah, it's good to have a community.
Yeah.
It really is. Especially when we're going into a year like this, to have that support, both paranormal and spiritually set. I'm not going to dive into any of the government issues, but we've had some issues here in Roanoke this past week, and I'm seeing something that's kind of scaring me. It's like, I'm going to say it like this: sci-fi has dictated again the future. Sci-fi is telling us exactly what could be happening, and for those who don't understand what I'm saying, you need to listen and look into some comic books on how certain organizations are ran like the government and then run the government, and then their forces enforce what's going on. That's what we got right now. I hate to tell y'all, and I'm scared of what I'm going to see with the actions that are taking place with a particular government agency that's supposed to be law enforcement, but they are acting outside the bounds of law enforcement and given the permission thereof by the hires that be. What the hell is that all about? That's bothering me. Giving now the permission to go into your home without probable cause. WTF? Yeah, that's kind of scary. So having this community out there that we can go to, and even the connections on YouTube, if you want to think about that, we're all getting closer. We know who to reach out to if I'm not feeling this and I'm feeling a certain way. Are you seeing this? Are you experiencing this? Is going to make groundbreaking movement in 2026. And Rhonda, you and I talked about this with Katrina Cooper, and I'm seeing it now that this is going to be a vital year for a lot of people and a lot of things. So, with that being said, let's jump into the subject. The subject, of course, is Expedition X, Season 7, Series X1 and Series X2. Oh, that was so good. Look at me. In these two scenarios, I'm going to use that for right now, there are two instances where certain situations were not allowed to take place, which means they weren't going to air. And usually that's either becoming one of the executives, and again, Adrienne can tell you more about that here in a minute, how the backs work more than the front. But in this case, they were at a secluded location, ungiven, I will say it like that, where they had permission at the time to go in and somewhere in the world. You like that? That was good. And we will say it was in a jungle somewhere. There we go. I can say that.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, it was in a very active location, and the crew went in. Now, on the first of the two, I will give you the basis. Two of their crew members became violently sick. Violently sick. Um, they could not figure out what was going on until they pulled one out. And as soon as he left the quarantine area, he started to relax and calm down, and his body started changing. Yes, his body started to change. So that put everything on the alarm. Now, what they were experiencing is some form of entity or entities in this location that we are. Some of us will see it as something we're very familiar with, a cryptic. And you two, if I'm wrong, change me, please. Um, so we're like, wow, that was really in depth. Now, why is this such a big thing? Well, because Josh was going back and forth behind the scenes, talking to the editor, talking about the vice president, and gained access to a room he's not even allowed to be in. No, he is the overall who to do of everything. He wasn't allowed to be in this certain room that all of their stuff goes through. He got in there, saw what the evidence was that took place, and Josh yanked it. He yanked it off the shelf and said, "This will not be played. This will never air." And suddenly it was gone. Okay. That's the first one. The second one, again, it was another disclosed location, I'll say in South America, where they went down. Again, jungle-like material, very old, ancient structures where things were taking place again, but it was affecting other crew members. Now, in my opinion, from what it sounded like going through both of these, there was some form of partial possession going on. I would say that they were interacting with either dimensional beings or with something that's grounded here on Earth. But in this, both series locations were experiencing similar of the same. A large energy factor, how it was manipulating the crew and the equipment, destroying their equipment, literally destroying. And it made a big deal. Now, why did I want to bring this to the girls tonight? Well, for one thing, we need to let you guys know paranormal is not fake. This shit can be dangerous and it can be very scary if you don't know what the hell you're doing. And this is a perfect example of this. And you can go to YouTube and you can look up season 7 Expedition X for yourself. That's all the information I'll give you of that. But in this, maybe we don't recognize the actual serious matter of what we deal with. And it doesn't matter if you're a ghost hunter or if you're a spiritualist or if you're a higher level of one of the two. If you're in it for your demonology or if you are a top level, I will use that, top level paranormal researcher. Okay. I think that's a proper way of saying it. So, hey, Joe. So, with that being said, I want to get y'all's opinion on that. But I know there's some people that are jumping in. Dragon, I saw you jump in. Kev, how you doing? Joe, good to see you again. I want to get you guys' opinions of what you felt like, what possibly could have been going on. I've got something I pulled from Facebook that I took to the boys, and the boys gave me a bunch of shit about it. Now, then I went, no, they really did. And I was like, I'm okay with that because they're giving me their honest opinion. But I said, I didn't give it to you for this is what it is. I gave you to you as a possible explanation of the series number 1. And all three of them went, oh. And they're like, well, that could still be AI. Now, I'm going to show you that to y'all in a little bit. And Yes, it could be AI. However, if you see what we are seeing and listen to exactly what Josh Gates, Jennifer, and the rest of the crew, and that's about what, 7 people on the first one, 2 of them got violently sick, almost, one of them almost died. He was close to death. On the second expedition, 2 of them, there would only be one person in all of South America that would take him into this location, one man. And he gave them instructions and said, don't F up. You do not want to do that here. So, with that being said, I'm going to drop back a little bit because I've been running my mouth. But I want to get y'all's impressions. I will say, Jan, hello, and Lisa. Hey, Kirk is in the house. What you doing, girl? And Michelle, how are you? Jan, good to see you. I'll jump in here and bring these up. So, ladies, what do y'all think about this situation? I like to use that as a situation. And I know it's several months ago, a year ago, whatever, but this is a subject I feel really needs to be talked about because how do y'all feel about it being swept underneath the rug? That's another thing. And Adrienne, you know about this, so I want to go to y'all on it.
I'm going to say it's more of a situation because I do understand the legality where they had to hide it because of the legal reasons. I do get that. But, what if it was just one of us? Just anybody out there doing the same thing? More than likely, we would be called dramatic. We would be called liars. It wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And like Jan said, there are things, there was one we did that the footage went missing. And it was for the same reason. It was because others that see it could get affected the same way.
Okay.
And it did happen with one other person, so we just scrapped it. Done. It's over. We're not going to do it. I'm hoping that was his reason because I like to think he is ethical. I like to think he's a good person. Again, that's all skepticism. I don't know, but hopefully he's okay. And he was doing this for the right reasons. I believe if what they put out, and this is if what they put out about the reason she quit is true, I commend her for it. I really do. How much money she was making, who knows? But if that's the reason she quit, bless her, because she's stuck to her guns and stuck to her morals. That's all we can ask for anyone.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you on that one because that's the one thing that caught my attention. That's what made me go, okay, I'm going to finish this out because of what that shit took place. And I didn't reach out to her, and I almost did. I went, no, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I do that sometimes. There's people I want to talk to and I want to find out. Like Keith, the gentleman who does ufology. It has the snake hat and the emblem. I want to know his experiences. I want to talk to him about Alaska. Okay. Because my father was there. They had some experiences. And of course, here we are. And yeah, it's not 9 o'clock. I can't really drop the F bomb, but I'm going to say, as the goldfish would say, it talks about Mount M.F. Hayes. And anybody that knows anything about paranormal and ufology knows that Hayes is a big hot spot up in Alaska. So talking about that, but Jennifer, I wanted to reach out to her, but then I was like, I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it may just be telling us it's not time.
Yeah. You know what? That's a valid point too. Maybe it's catching the attention of certain people, but not of everybody yet. And not everybody knows it was swept underneath the rug. Mm-hmm. So the purpose of this coming out now is opportune time, because between myself and you two, and those of you out there in the listening and watching land, it almost sounds like this is verging on something that we've all become aware of, such as scientific research that's been either opened up and they can't control it,
Yeah.
or they knew it's always been there and finding it to communicate. Why would they let anybody in there if that was the case and they knew something negative or unintentful was there? I think that's where. Yeah, I'm going with that. Ron, did you get a chance to at least dabble into it? I know you've been busy.
Yeah, I did. I didn't get through all of it, but I did some of it, and I have to agree with exactly what Adrienne said. We don't know things like this, how it would affect others that watched it. Also, the one thing that struck me was we don't know how it would affect the people that were originally affected if they watched it again.
Yeah.
Would it then make it something that they couldn't get rid of? But then I also thought about, it's probably a good thing to shelve it, because when you're affected like that, you're in such a vulnerable spot. And I know those people could have signed off, disclaimers that they were fine with that, but would they be fine with it later?
Are you bringing up a good point, Rhonda? I'm going to let you bring this up. Can you actually explain what you're referring to about watching so people will understand what you're actually referring to?
I mean, I just looked at what the link you sent me. I don't know what you want me to say.
Oh, no, I was talking about how were they affected? Did you watch that on?
No.
Okay.
Not all of it. I actually did some reading on it, but I didn't watch all of that, no.
Okay. Adrienne, did you see that part on why the audio? Do you want to dive in that a little bit so people will understand what she's referring to?
What I did see was the man that was not supposed to see the audio, but he did. And he ended up sick himself. So, and I've run into that myself. I would never believe it if it hadn't happened with us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary.
It is scary. That's another reason why it caught my attention, because, again, all three of us are paranormal researchers.
Mm-hmm.
You two are metaphysical, and I love that factor. Again, we can talk. Have you either, and Rhonda, I already know your answer, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Have either one of you experienced the loss of data on your either audio or visual?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I have, one of which was intentional, and it was malicious when it happened. And it was one of our crew members that did it. Looking back on it now, maybe he saved us. I don't know. He was not the most reputable person in the world, but he may have actually done something to save us. I don't know for sure. And other times, you have everything going, you have the batteries, and all of a sudden there's a section that doesn't record, or the whole thing doesn't record. You'd like to chalk it up to, okay, maybe I didn't press the right button, or maybe I didn't do something right. So the next time you double check with other people, hey, you see me do this, right?
Yes.
And you never really know what happened the first time because you didn't do that. So now it's always checks and balances. Hey, you're seeing me do this. You see this camera is going. You see batteries at 100%. And, that way at least you always second guess yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You assume immediately it was something you did.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, Rhonda, we know about that, don't we?
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
And that's good. That's a good way to be, because then you're just not like, oh, it had to be something else, because we know it's not me. I'm perfect.
Right.
That's not how this works.
I want to get in here. I'm going to hit up, and then I'm going to start from the top and come back down, and then I'll give you my input. Some of you who have been following me or follow ASPS or even the show, when I'm getting ready to talk about, you're going to be like, I remember you talking about it. And if you're interested, you can go to ASPS-Paranormal on YouTube, and you can see a lot of our basic evidence, and some of it you can decide for yourself. What is it? Let me hear. Jan says, I can agree with Adrienne. I think he did. Okay, there you go. Keith drops in and says, it's important to document things before you start investigating. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, let me drop up here. I'm actually talking pretty good, Ron. Do you hear that? I'm actually.
Yeah, you are.
Good. And that's because, Adrienne, I'm usually fumbling because I'm thinking too fast.
Tis true. Tis true.
Tis true. Tis. Renee says, I am going to see one of his talks in June. Might have to ask Josh about this during Q&A. I'm
Good
going
idea.
to encourage you to do that.
I don't know if he'll talk. I
don't
really
think he
don't
will
know
either.
what he can say legally.
Well, that's another valid point, Adrienne. Legally, you've been in this position where the TV thing and all that, and how much of a pain in the ass dealing with executives is, and
Mhm.
yeah, valid point.
Yeah, they're not going to. If you're curious, look up, let's say, Travel Channel. You can look up their contract. It's scary.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things, if you don't get something, because honestly, let's look at the other side of it. They're paying for you to go there. They're paying for, your meals. They're paying, and these actors, they're paying for a lot more than that.
Mhm.
So, they got a lot out of pocket. So with these actors, if you don't find something, they're going to make you find something, whether it's, something spooked you for a second, and which we all do, and realize, oh, that was stupid. That was just a creak or whatever it was. But they're going to make something out of that, whether it's something or not. And that's what I don't care for. I can't.
And see, that was my concern about this. When I first started walking now, there we go, too much coffee. As soon as I started watching this documentary, I started to go, is this something that's just ployed? Could this be a ploy? Because
I did too. I wondered that. I was like, okay. Are we creating an urban legend here?
see, I'm not going to talk bad about Josh Gakes. I've never met the man,
Right.
but there are hosts of Paranormal TV, and you all understand this is straight talk is what we do, that will make the story bigger than what it really is. They make a mountain out of an anthill because of ratings.
Yeah.
They're not being assholes, but they want your attention.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they get paid. I mean, we all understand that. So I got to give that point, but should they be doing it? No. As a paranormal researcher, I'm going to say no. That is the worst thing you do because you're harming what I do. You're harming other people. Because if you're making this big deal within you're encouraging somebody to go to that location, what's going to happen? That's like me, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm going to talk about this. That's like me being able to get into Desjardins and research Desjardins, Western State Hospital, and then coming out and going, you guys have got to go there. You've got to experience it, blah, blah, blah. Here I have just given you a gun to walk into a location to shoot yourself with.
Yeah.
I can't. It's my responsibility for things like that that takes place not to let you go there. Because that's it. And maybe that was the point of not letting it air, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The other part was I'm thinking, well, if they're saying that it, and this is one of my things, and I've been working on it, and I actually talked to Big Sean Daddy today, my digital recorder that I got for Christmas. It's not digital, it's a cassette. I'm sorry, a cassette player. Okay. My theory on this is it's different than digital because it's imprinted with magnetic pressure. So that gives the ability to be captured, etc. Now, if it's on a real tape, isn't it the same thing? If it's reel to reel and not digital. Some people would disagree and say, oh, if it's digital, it'll still be affected. Not necessarily, but it could, I will say. I think the chances on a reel to reel or a cassette is much higher than on a piece of digital equipment. That's just me. That's how I feel about it. So, with knowing that the crew member was affected by watching, just merely watching, that really gave me some interest and credit. Did he get sick? There is proof. Yes, he did. Did it become an issue? Yes, it did. It is documented that crew went to the hospital after this, all that. Was it because of this? We don't know, but look at what's happening. Look what's happening.
Yep.
And I go back, the reason I'm bringing that up and when I was talking to you all about it is because we've had, and I'm glad that Ryan's here, Ryan C. Jones from the freaking awesome paranormal show Rhonda's cohort over there on Tuesday nights, and also my second in command with ASPS. Years ago, he and I and several of our investigators were on location in a place that we constantly investigate. You all know about this. And the last investigation we had, the CCVT unit, not the cameras, the unit itself fried at the end of the investigation. We did do some test of theories in this location. We used fog and lasers and a whole bunch of different techniques, but the location also knew this was the last time we were going to be there. Was there a lot that took place? Yes. But with the experiences of locations I have been before, I have also found that there is a lot of spiritual, dimensional activities that finds it not to want to be recorded, yet it audio or video. Would y'all agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
So I wanted to bring that out because of what we're going to continue into. And I really appreciate y'all with doing this. And definitely just shoot out your opinion at me. Jan says a few shows have done that. It's to protect viewers. I know that when we have done some investigations that we won't release what has happened. Absolutely. It's true. In fact, if you're a solid team and you know what the heck you're doing and you know how legality can be taking place, you should be signing waivers.
Yeah.
Do you have permission? Because I'm going to tell you guys out there right now, especially in the state of Virginia, but you can go else anywhere, it's federal mandated. It is against law for you to take a picture of a person's home, interior or exterior. They can actually take you to court for that. It's actually legal for you to take a picture of them or anything that they own. So any individual that you're working with chooses to take legal action against you if you put it out public without a waivered documentation, you will and can get sued and you will lose. It's happened since 2013, 2014, 2015. Judges don't have any recoil for the paranormal. They again, if they're not in the paranormal, they're out to destroy it.
Yeah.
So that means the people are in it too. So just take note of that.
Yeah.
Did you also know that you also can be taken to court for your audio?
No.
You can be taken if the individual said question is picked up on the audio and you put it in public. Guess what? You've invaded their privacy yet again, and they can sue you for that. Now, this could be on a statewide, etc., depending on your state, but majority of federal laws based on, guess what? It's in the factor of Homeland Security. Go check it out. So, just giving you guys that information, it makes a big deal how you handle situations. Jan says, replying to Renee, amazing, Renee, totally amazing. Yes, Josh Gates is a great guy. And Ryan can tell you, he is a great guy. I'm not going to lie about that. Renee says, replying to Renee Cody, this is my second time seeing him. Excellent. Keith does say, yep, you know it. Hayes. So Keith knows what I'm talking about. It's all about the fish. It's all about the
Keith, I didn't see that. Keith says, did they blame it on heat exhaustion? I didn't see that portion. Did I miss something?
You know what? I'm going to go down and we'll go dive in
I
that.
didn't see anything in the other stuff I looked up either.
I'm going to read this and then we'll jump back into that. Joanne, hey, did you guys hear where the Survivor Series came across a Bigfoot nest and they shut the show down and made them move Jeff Prost?
No, I didn't.
Yes, I did, because it's Jeff. It's funny you bring that up, Joanne. It is really funny you bring that up right now. We're going to dive into it in just a few minutes. We got 20 minutes. We're going to really dive into this. But it is interesting. I did see it. And isn't it interesting for that as well? I agree. Let me go into Jan and then we'll go back to there. Jan, I will say a place like Skinwalker Ranch won't release a lot of their research evidence. Well, that's interesting you bring that up because I just watched something with somebody that I know that went to Skyrock just to drive up to the gate and take a picture on what happened when they just drove up to the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, that was amazing. I don't really want to get into Skinwalker right now because I really would like to do an episode, Rhonda.
Yes.
On Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes.
Experienced it, or maybe do 2 hours.
Sure.
But I will say that there's a lot of connections between Skinwalker Ranch and what took place on this location. Would y'all agree with me on that one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes, and I got there to Keith where he said interesting document. All right, let me run down here real quick, you guys. Where did Keith say that?
Oh, he also said Josh getting sick. I didn't read about Josh getting sick.
They didn't put that in there.
Okay, so that's a whole different article.
That's a whole different place.
Okay.
But
okay.
It's
okay.
connected to that.
Okay.
That's the interesting part. And Keith, thank you for bringing that up. Let me go stroll back up, and I will touch base on that. But I want to jump on. Jeremy jumps in. Jeremy York, Things Network in the house of 13th dimension. Bam! Check it out. He says, talking about batteries and doing stupid things. One summer, I was filming a bunch of teams at a location, and I thought I had everything all set and ready to go. The cameras I had mics that connected, and I had them going, but it wasn't until everything was down and all of the teams were finished when I was going through all the footage. Hold on, and saw that I had no audio on any of them. That was when I discovered I was supposed to have put batteries inside the mics and had no idea. That's a valid point. If we don't know our equipment or we didn't realize that something is going, hey, sure, we can blame it on that.
Mm-hmm.
Most people could blame it on the paranormal supernatural because they're covering their own mistake. Right. Jeremy right there telling you, dude, I was stupid. I didn't put the damn thing in there. I've done it. I know Ryan's done it. I know Jim's done it. We forget either to power something up or we don't put something in the battery and we're like, oh, look, it's not working. And then we go, oh, dude, I feel stupid. On the flip side, with Big Daddy Sean, I have had a fully loaded brand new piece of equipment with brand new batteries that never activated on location. We leave the location and the bitch comes back on. We go back to the location, doesn't come on, leave the location, comes on.
Yeah. I think the worst 2 things I've ever had to do was when I first got in the paranormal field, I was with a team, and what I didn't know was the team member was not on the up and up. And so, like one of my first 5 investigations, I guess, within the first 5, something happened, and I went back home, looked at all the footage, and went, oh no. I have to scrap this because I think he did it.
Yeah.
And to this day, I don't know whether he did or not, but it has never been put out because I don't know.
Right.
Because he was that kind of person. Another time, I was following this team lead and filming, and he was throwing rocks over the balcony, and the person down below was doing a session and on YouTube at that live, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, something just got thrown at me," which you
gonna
would think
You
that.
would think that, yeah.
Well, technically, that's paranormal, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Technically, unfortunately.
Yeah, because they didn't know.
And on live camera, I had to go down there and I had to choose whether I'm going to go against my team or let him act a fool. And on live camera, I said, "Hey, he was throwing rocks at you. That's not, we were doing that from up top." And I said we because I was with him.
Yeah.
And I said, "We were doing that from up top. It's not what you think it is. Scrap that portion."
Jeremy says, I remember those rocks.
He was there.
He was there.
He was there when that happened. He wasn't with me when it happened, but I did tell him about it when it happened.
Yeah. That is pretty sad, actually.
It is, and it was
Kind of a dickhead move, in my opinion.
it was, and that was one of so many. And I was like, "Is this what the paranormal field's really about?" Because if that's the case, I don't want anything to do with it.
There's a lot of people out there that do that. There's a lot of people who will run up on you and do scares, especially on their own property. There are people that will come out and just mess with you when they know you're doing an investigation, but they just want to get a kick and bother you.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting a kick off. It's about a power play.
Yes.
Don't let them do it. Don't. You can ask for your money back. That's going against your investigation that you paid for.
Right.
Just letting you all know about that.
Yeah.
Be careful. Don't play. Don't let people play you.
I have seen that too, and I actually put that out, and that was in my first year also. I went to a location, and I have no problem saying what it was because I didn't sign anything other than I'm paying. That's it.
Yeah.
But it was Haunted Hill House in Texas.
Okay.
And, we went through the whole thing, and it was one of my first, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool."
No, wait.
I went back home.
You said Haunted Hill House. Is that you talking about Jan's location or the
No.
other one? The other
No,
one?
this is just Haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells, Texas. There we go.
Oh, yeah. It's the other. Okay. Because Jan has the other haunted house. That's why I was like, which one? Because I know there's two
Oh,
of
yeah.
them.
No, this was Mineral Wells, Texas. And, we went there. We spent the night. We spent good money to go there. We spent the night. And I got home, and I was looking, through Google. One of the props that were there, the first thing that flagged my attention was they stay in a camper right outside the property.
Mm-hmm.
They have cameras inside. So, they could interact with anything that's in there if they have the capability. And when I took a picture of this rocking horse that supposedly went off with motion, it's actually radio activated. It's remote control activated. And I was like,
That's
"I'm
disappointing."
done."
Yeah,
And everybody loves that place. And okay, if you've gotten things other than what I have, that's great. I didn't get anything substantial, which, we all know it could be our energy that they don't want to interact with, or someone's that they do. So, but, one thing I do know for sure is that rocking horse was remote control activated.
And they here's the thing about that. If you're a true paranormal investigator, or I shouldn't say it like that. If you know what you're looking for, you're going to be busted and caught at that anyway. Because it's going to have a little box with a pumper on it that pushes the the leg up, and they think you're not going to see it to push the rocking chair. I mean, I know exactly what it is. It's all the old school. You know what I mean? The old school.
Yep.
Don't worry, that's a story. But
Yeah, and it was sad because I thought, oh, we got something, and then I couldn't put that out because I googled it and there it was, remote control, and I'm like, I'm done. And this was in my first year of investigating, so I knew better, even at that point, to put stuff out that was not reality.
Gotcha.
As excited as I was and wanted to, no.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let me move on. I'm going to try to catch up on the comments, and then we'll go on with there. Jan says, I will have to say, Josh is pretty down to earth and honest. He will flat out say yay or nay. He has released things like into Vulture City, Arizona this season, and I was surprised about it. I would agree. Meeting him at the Fairy Plantation and not, okay, when I met him, this wasn't a personal. This was personal. This wasn't him doing a show. It wasn't him doing a Paracon. He came to Fairy just to explore Fairy, and at the time, I was friends with the director, and I got to spend time with Josh and talk with him, and we were talking about different other things. So I have that much to back him up as far as knowing him somewhat like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I could say about that one. So back up on that. I like what Lisa dropped in here. Lisa Kirk. Hello, Miss Lisa. I've spent many hours in Desjardins. Really? Many experiences. One of the most active places as far as spirit interactions intelligence was ever been. That's right. Lisa, you used to live in Virginia, didn't you? And I think that was probably before they banned that son of a bitch down. So
Way going in there now.
That's
They like us so.
right. 5 years. Guarantee, baby. All right. Keith hits up, says, didn't they blame it on the heat exhaustion or even a mistake? All right, this is what y'all were just reading, and I'm going to say it like this. Some of it, yes. They also didn't say anything about how he was affected. That was kept completely out of this documentary too.
Yeah, it was. I didn't see that.
Yeah. He was affected by whatever he saw. So don't let him fool you. That documentary doesn't give you everything about the situation.
Right.
Keep saying that. And Rhonda, if there's any questions, you holler out, girl.
I will. I will.
Let's see. Keith said, I saw it on a later story, not on that episode. Yeah, and that's where they tried to start covering it up.
Okay.
That's one of the things I wanted to say, Keith, is throughout that season, they really tried to do some covering up on things. Why didn't this happen? Why this until this documentary came out? Oh boy, if this gets out. Anyway, so Jane said I lived up there near Skinwalker. Cool.
She did.
Keith says, when in doubt, throw it out. Oh yeah, that's the golden rule, baby.
Yeah. I learned that very, very early on.
Yeah. Renee says, research the owners of these haunted attractions. Oh, there you go. Jan, bam. We've messed up around like that. Like when we scared Adrienne, everyone else saw us.
Yeah, it was on camera. And they said on camera what they were about to do. So it wasn't like, it was more like getting the energy up when someone's scared, messing with someone. But it was all on camera, documented that this is what they were going to do. And it was all on camera when it happened.
Yeah, at least they were being honest. And
Right.
They're like, we're going to change the energy a little bit. And sometimes you need that.
Yeah,
You do.
a lot of times you do.
Yeah, true that. Jan also says, if you go in with a skeptic mind, set which we should all do, debunk first and figure the rest out later. And then that's exactly what was going on. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I didn't know that, Lisa. I'll talk with you in a little bit. Oh, yeah, maybe I did. Oh, I'll talk to you in a little while, Lisa. Uh, I They let little things out. They didn't give you everything. I know fact it didn't give you everything, but in this documentary, they gave you as much as they could,
Right.
and they were trying to debunk. They were using technical equipment, you guys, not just our regular. They were using military grade shit, and we're talking base foundation lasers. If you don't know what that is, it's a laser that's basically a fence that goes around their area, a containment area. They were using sensors, heat temperature, all kinds of stuff, and it fucked with their shit hard. It really did, and it chased them. And now, what they got on video thermal is where we're going to with that, and then this will give y'all an understanding where we're going to go. I know we're almost at 8. Bear with us. We're going to try to go as long as we can, if you two want to.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, let's do this. Lisa says, I'm still living in Virginia. Yeah, it has been about 15 years since I've gone in, and that's about right. I've been in Stanton recently, and I have seen loose boards. I've thought about it. Don't please
do it.
don't. As you
They
know,
crack down on that place more than most places.
that's exactly right. And Lisa, as you and many of others should know, I'm good friends with Marty Siebel, Black Raven Paranormal, and GOS, Ghost of Stanton, one of our sponsors. I've talked to the police chief. He and I have, and I can tell you, they do have people watching now. They do. So please, don't be stupid. Stay off the property, please.
We should never trespass as paranormal investigators, ever, ever, ever. If anybody on our team ever does that, they're gone. It's not going to happen.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to lie. Ryan and I had to put our foot down a couple of years ago ourselves. And it had to do with Desjardins.
Yeah.
Because we were worried. We were worried for their safety and the location on which the reputation that they're known to research. So how could that have bounced back on that location?
Yep.
So,
I do have to play the devil's advocate with this show and any other show in all reality. They have non-disclosure agreements. They have, they have all the legalities of all this. So if I'm going to be honest, I don't believe a lot of what's on TV.
Mhm.
And, I'm going to look with a very skeptical eye. I'm going to look at YouTube before anything else. And yes, we have YouTubers that are so far out there that they shouldn't even be called investigators, but we get to pick our own names. So
true.
but that's not, we haven't signed non-disclosure agreements. We have not said, we won't do this, we won't do that, we won't put this out. But I honestly, my personal opinion on this is they come into maybe something the military knew about that they're not going to allow out. And I think that, in all honesty, I think the military knows a lot of what we know.
Adrienne, do you know what this is?
Believe.
You know what this is?
No, what's that?
You're exactly right. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you because of what was said at the end of the first and what was said as they were going to the second. If you didn't catch it, you will catch it now. I agree with you because the military did get involved and not that country's military. Let me do this for you.
Huh.
So that'll give you that part. It's really interesting once you get into this. So I don't, and I'm you know what?
If you ever watch, we're actually watching a show, which is, you would think is so far-fetched, but when you really get into it, it's called Manifest.
Okay.
And it really pulls out what the military really hides.
Yep.
I mean, of course, it's not reality, or it wouldn't be out there, but it gives you the idea of, hey, maybe things aren't as honest as you think they should be.
Agreed.
But it's really a cool show. We've been watching
really
that
is.
for a while.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
I like that. Lisa drops in there real quick.
It is.
Your wand is awesome. Let's bring up, I'm going backwards and upwards. I'm going to bring this up on Keith, what he just said. Military is 30 years beyond tech info they give us.
Absolutely.
I think they're more advanced now than 30, brother. Just to be honest with you. I think that was a good percentage back in the 40s and the 50s. But now I think they're like 50 to 60 years ahead of us now.
Yeah.
I really do, just because of certain things that take place. And we could talk about that on another show, because that is part of our episode that we talk about when we talk about the government and we're talking about conspiracies. We'll just keep going with them.
How long is it going to be before we disappear?
Yeah. I don't know. That's why I keep documenting myself that I'm still alive. But you said something about AI. So I want to read that real quick. Let me go back down there because that was a really good point. Pal.
Yeah.
Keith Otterberg says the AI is causing all kinds of issues in the paranormal.
I can't stand AI.
AI is causing issues in more than just the paranormal.
Yeah.
You go on Facebook and you look at your friends, and you see a picture of them with, I don't know, a celebrity, Jesus, whatever it is. And it's like, and it's really hard to tell the difference between reality and AI. And I think that's scary.
It's true. It's true. A random rapture. I believe in that. That's the one thing I do believe. Right there, Keith said, what about the rapture? What if it's random? What if it's not all at once? Just saying, folks. That's my belief. That's some of what's taking place. Some. So Lisa Kurt jumps in and says, I'm still in Virginia. Yeah, it's about 15. Okay, we already read that one. Sorry. And you know what? I want to touch base with you. I didn't know you're only like an hour and a half from me, Lisa. Keith did say we've lost a couple of team members in the past for odd behavior. I get you on that one. She says, I won't. This is Lisa Kirk. I won't. LOL. The last time I was in there, the third floor of the old building was crushing down. I can only imagine the state that the building is in now on the inside. But thinking about it, would I do it all do now? Ugh. I'm not too old to be sitting in jail. Nobody is, girlfriend. And
no, I am. I'm too old to be in jail. No.
Well, as far as your point, I get your point on that one. And yeah, no. And you're right. It's not even on that for that town. It's not the negative connotation as it's more of the structural deterioration. Oh, that was so good. And they cannot destruct it because of all the asbestos that's inside. It would cost them twice the amount to level it than to just keep it up. So just putting that out there. Let me drop this, what Keith just said. I'm going to keep reading with this. Keith just said the 144 frequency, the 144 thousandths, there you go, refers to a spiritual concept, often linked to the book of Revelations, mentioned of 1,000 or 144,000 sealed servants of God, symbolizing divine light, spiritual awakening, and a collective consciousness for humanity's transformation rather than in the interliteral radio frequency or specific number. It's seen as a vibration of unit, divine love, and high consciousness, the awkward, yeah, wakened individuals resonate with two anchor healing and light on earth. See, y'all, this is what I'm talking about. My brain just goes. So, and I agree. Now, I want to bring something up, and we'll get back to the story because what Keith just brought up. There is a device that's running around right now that you can get off Facebook, Amazon, and YouTube. That is a tone frequency box, electric frequency. All you have to do is plug your earphones into it or plug your speakers into it, and you plug it into your form, and it gives you off your certain vibrations and tones. Why do you think they're selling that? You think it's just spiritual? I think it's funny. It also is sold now in a kit that has a tuning fork, a tong, and a bell. Yeah, the reef machine, exactly. That has the bell mount so you can just tap it as well. And I'm going to bring that up right there. You're exactly right, Keith. The reef machine. There you go. So absolutely, and I agree. I find it interesting that that's coming out. Lisa said, but I still love driving by and taking the pictures. Look, if you're on 81 and you're driving south or north and you're right at the 6481, by God, get a chance, take a picture. This place is capturing. It will capture, and it's scary because it can pull you in. I know I was obsessed with it for years before I even started this team until I talked to Marty and I really learned all the stuff. So I'm going to keep dropping on here. Whoa! Okay, keep drop that in there. Let's see. If I ever win the lotto, I'm buying that building. I don't know if I will, but okay. Keith, actual frequency, not the YouTube sound feds. Exactly. Exactly. It is actual frequencies on this machine. Lisa says that there used to be a machine in the medical offices that gave off frequencies, but they stopped using them. Pardon me. Did you know that's true? That office, and not just medical, business offices were giving off a certain tone as the employees worked, hidden in the music.
Yeah. They do that lots of places. I've noticed a lot with frequency and even just music in general. A lot of paranormal investigators are starting to create their own thing, not necessarily for YouTube, but they're creating sounds and music and things like that to use on investigations and see what it calls in.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great trigger sign. It really is. I've got my own file. I've got one from the 1800s and one from the 1900s. I mean, think about it. It is, if anything's going to trigger them out of the material, it's going to be sound, music. So I agree.
Well, not even just music. They're just using frequency sounds and molding some of the different ones together to see which ones get more reactions and which ones don't.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, you cannot look that up on Amazon.
What?
It will not come up.
Are you serious?
Really?
What comes up is frequency generator for healing, high frequency facial wand, and oxyglow cordless high frequency facial machine.
Get the heck out of here!
Yep.
You know, and that is interesting, Rhonda, because I just got it 3 months ago.
Interesting.
Under that name, so that means since then they have pulled that off.
At least under that name,
right? And maybe that's a patent thing.
Yeah,
that could very well be possible. But gotcha. Keith says the music frequency change. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. You know,
5G, all of it.
5G, 6G, crappy G. I'm going there. I'm just saying, crappy G. Trying to blue, or blue. Yeah, right. Or blue beam tree, blue beam of shit Cree. Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna go and let me read that and then we'll keep going on that. Oh, good Lord. High frequency facial wand. Laugh my ass off. I see myself out. Like that. Lisa says there was a machine that was used to treat people. It had hundreds of codes for different frequencies depending on what medical condition the patient had, but they stopped using it in the 60s.
Yeah, and that's the bad part. If there was something created that could heal, it's gone. Done. Because that does not coincide with the medical
Big pharma.
True that.
Precisely.
It's we jump too ahead. Oh, we got to pull that back. We can't let that happen. I don't think it's always the big pharmacies. I think there's an agenda to the reason behind of all situations.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm gonna go with that. All right, so I know it's 8:11. We're gonna do this real quick, so you guys know what the heck we're talking about, and we don't keep Miss Adrienne too much longer here. In the show, the representation of the entity itself. Well, thank you, ma'am. Actually, depict a certain form that all of you in this chat, I know yours right now, depicted as a cryptic that we're all familiar with. This is also given away to certain ideas and theories a lot of people have come up with as far as this cryptic being dimensional or inner space. You don't hear that word anymore. Wonder why that is. Inner space. So, the evidence shown their equipment destroyed or malfunctioning or completely gone, the sicknesses, the people that were there, how when all took place, they were seemed to come and get better in a week or so. But what caught everybody's attention is when the team, and only the team was supposedly allowed at this time to see the image. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the representation of what I think. And this is going to be interesting because this was used. It could be AI. It may not. But this is a good representation of what we're talking about. So let me bring this up. We are going to share. Okay. We're going to bring that up. Oh, look at that. Okay. Can you all see it? Okay, good. Let me play this through. Oh, can't hear it. Why can't you hear it? Ah.
Who has only posted the following 3 videos on TikTok. He just started 5 days ago. Brand new account. These are the only 3 videos he's posted. It seems to be thermal imagery from a drone of something disturbing taking place in some mountainous wooded areas. He posted in Spanish, so I imagine it's somewhere near the border or in Mexico. It looks as though a gentleman is being chased by some sort of creature, but before that, he captures imagery of a group of gentlemen standing in a circle, dragging a body into the middle of it that looks like some sort of satanic worship. Then he captures a house. On top of these mountains. There's supposed to be no houses, and somebody's hiding in one of them. And I imagine it's the person that ends up being chased by this creature. Take a look.
Now, do y'all see what I was talking about? Representation. The entity at the end is supposedly the same styled energy entity that was on season 7's episode with Josh Gates. He confirmed it. He said this is what it was. They have a thermal image of it that they finally released. It's on the documentary. And I'm just going, wow. So when I saw this was, okay, I've got to put it like this. It has been a very interesting 24 hours when all this came about. So much stuff was happening to me in my circle of giving direction of this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what up? I get it because somebody that I knew passed away that shouldn't have passed away. Different other things were taking place. And I was like, whoa, it's like spiritual pow, right? So I wake up and see this mentally, and I'm going, that's intense. Why was I meant to see this now with all this other going on. I went and did further research, did more, listened about the second one. The second one was about the same cryptic image that you all just saw. I didn't say the name. I'm not going to lead you. Now, Keith just said AI, dot, 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 dot. Okay, I'm going to go with this. Oh, and Kevin says, oh. That's right, Kev. So, and cartels? Now, it could be. It could be cartels. But here's the problem I have it. A, there's music that was dedicated to this thing for 3 videos. It's dedicated. 2, it's too coincidental how it was set up. So could it be most likely AI? Yes, I agree. But it was a great representation of what we've been talking about tonight. Now, Rana, you and I talked specifically on detail about this, starting with Daniel Benoit and moving forward. And I'm out of respect, I'm saying his name, saying it like that, ECBRO, okay? However, many feel that this creature is an interdimensional, inner space, or dimensional creature, while others just say they have learned to adapt for thousands of years to hide. Okay, I will agree with that too. But I'm going to ask you two, what do you think the possibilities of this cryptic actually being true and actually affecting them the way it has been? Doesn't that change everything we've been thought about this cryptic now? Because really it's defining what a lot of people have already said, that this is not of this dimension.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a lot of what's going on in this world right now.
Rhonda?
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't. I mean, anything is possible with it. I mean, could that particular cryptid make people sick? Potentially. Could be part of the elusive that he wipes minds, wipes equipment, wipes. What does he do? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That video was interesting, though. I feel like a lot of that was AI, and I feel like a lot of assumptions were made.
Yes, I agree with you there too. And I'm going to agree with y'all because I also think it was very leading. I said that during the video.
Yes.
That was a very leading video. And I'm like, I don't believe it. But it's great for me to represent what I'm trying to express. I'll say that. Keith drops in and says, what if the Netherlands evolved and didn't go extinct? Yeah, what if? What if? That's the thing. This case is interesting to me. Why did they not air it? Because the first case supposedly has to do with audio video.
Mm-hmm.
That's legit. That's what it was said. That's why Josh pulled it off the shelf, because individuals can be affected by audio video. Now I'm going to ask y'all a question. I'm going to show with this. That's right. Full circle, babies. Here we go. Here we go. If that's the case, and this cryptic can do this and affect through audio video the individual, then what makes it that a spirit itself cannot do the same? Hence the ring.
Right.
And that's really weird. I was just talking to Courtney about this situation. Here we go again. A long story. I'll tell you this later on, or if she will. Something happened last night at Poor Man's Bridge. Anyway, what keeps them from being able to affect us through video and audio? And maybe that's the ability of destroying equipment and missing evidence. They're getting rid of it. But what if we were able to keep it? Would that be a possessional factor on us? Because anything that affects us from electrical or equipment is a dimensional effect upon us, which means partial possession. Am I right?
Why wouldn't it be if they learned years ago about frequencies and what they can do to us? Then why wouldn't they be using it now?
You know what? You just said something, and now it just made me think of another case that took place in the late 60s that's well documented because a lot of people have seen it because they made a movie out of it. No, not The Exorcist. Good one, though. Do either one of you recall ever seeing The Entity, the movie? The
Yes.
Entity.
Yes.
Okay. In that movie, of course, she was being molested by an entity, a spirit that cannot be seen or physically felt, but she was physically feeling it because she was being raped by this entity over and over. And she was still alive in the 80s. Of course, she's passed away since such. But in the middle of it, there are scientists that came from North Carolina that went to her and created a chamber. And guess what they used to try to capture this entity with? Frequency. This case took place in the 70s. So it's interesting. We're all going back to sound and light, which they knew in the 60s and 70s.
I was going to say white noise has been a communication tool for a very long time.
Right? So here we are now, and I've said this too. Could whatever they ran into, and are you going to like this one, Adrienne? Okay, yeah, I can't say that. Hold on. Gotcha. Could oh man, I had a point and I was getting ready to say it. The entity be affected by the equipment that was giving off infrared light, which caused it to react and become agitated, which means it would attack.
Why
This is
not?
being hard. Because I know the last year I've been doing research about infrared lights, and supposedly a lot of spirits cannot stand. They say it hurts. I have EVPs of something saying it hurts when the IR is on. Y'all's opinion?
I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, it is in a way it's a type of frequency.
Ron is like,
I mean, no, I'm just thinking, there's no reason that wouldn't work. I'm just thinking about all kinds of, I'm thinking about like frequencies we can't even hear, like frequencies like a dog whistle, things that have been used for years.
Jeremy has been experimenting with dog whistles. We did that when we were in different places.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know he and I have talked about that, and Nick, and they were telling me about the experience. So I'm glad you brought that up, Adrienne. I really appreciate you bringing that up because it really is. They're testing that too. Keith drops in and says when they used a frequency machine to disable their soldiers and radar do. Oh, I see what you're saying about Venezuela. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the U.S. military did and are. Jan says, if we are open and energy has no boundaries and everything is made up of energy, then yes, if you watch something, it can manifest in you. Beautifully said. Beautifully said, because I'm going to tell you something in just a second. Lisa says, bells. That's why they get rid of bells, because the frequency they give off and the distance that it will travel depends on the size of. Yeah. There you go. Keith says, replies, energy and entities can come from the screen people are watched on. Yeah. Yeah. Jan says, whistles, dog whistles. Yep. Jeremy has had, and that's what Adrienne just said. And Keith rounds up with, yes, I have talked with Dustin Perry about the infrared light. There you go. There it is. So it must not be the only thing that I've caught up, and others must be actually starting to catch on to that there might be something with infrared. And I really think it's been since I worked at Selma Mansion in Norristown, Pennsylvania, working with, God rest his soul, Bill Freeman, and some of the research he and I were working on, that I started coming across this. Actually, I can say Selma was the only place I've experienced an electrical item actually turn on by itself with no batteries. That was amazingly caught me off guard.
Right, right.
Yeah. Renee says different frequencies, sound, and color will bother different entities and different frequencies. I agree with that too, because we don't know. If that's one thing that I will say 24/7 to any, even the people who says expert, I will look at them and go, you don't know shit. We don't know anything. We're speculating, we're theorizing. We do know that at least there is one other dimension other than ours, because we do have cases of multiple of being physically, mentally scarred, touched, and physically bruised. There's got to be another dimension. That's about all we can define. Everything else is theory. Just remember that. So I'm also going to say this. If there can be another dimension in theory and they can physically touch us, don't go poking the fucking bear.
Amen.
Careful what you do. So on this, I'm going to wrap up and say, I think it's great. I want you guys to jump in there and do your own search. Read in and look at this on YouTube. It is definitely worth it. Documentary is crazy awesome. You'll see more of what we've been talking about, and maybe increase your depth of knowledge and go, hey, there's more out there.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. There's more out there. Be careful. Don't go poking. So, Adrienne, thank you so much, love. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Rhonda, as always, it's always been a pleasure. Adrienne, we'll touch base back with you very soon so we can have the next one. Whatever you grab up or whatever I grab, or Rhonda, if there's something we want to snag in that's TV related, that's what this is all about, then we're going to grab into it. But Adrienne, if there's another subject you want to jump into in the next episode, let's do it. We're thankful for you being here, working with us. We thank Jeremy York for allowing you to be here and saying, yeah, we're good. We're working together. That shows unity.
Yep.
That shows you. So thank you, Keith. We appreciate you. Kev, thank you so much. To all you travelers and those like, stay tuned. There's many other great shows that are coming to the network. Go on over and check out Things Network on 24/7. They're constantly playing something. Great work. Jeremy's done amazing. They're just a little bit younger than us, but we do it differently. We all do it differently.
Yeah.
Great thing. We give you an option of everything across the board. Can't go wrong. So until then, thank y'all so much. Adrienne again. Rhonda, thank you again.
Sure.
Travelers, again, let's make tomorrow a little bit different than today. And know you are appreciated. Until then, travelers, may virtue be yours.
Have a great week, everybody.
Good night.